Okay. Question number 1. In June 2013, Mix Santa Fe asked attendees to finish this sentence. The next mayor of Santa Fe should... Javier, please finish the sentence. The next mayor of Santa Fe should...
Grow young.
Grow young?
Grow Santa Fe young.
You want to use the rest of your time?
No, yes, absolutely.
I just had to tell a politician
That's
to
what
keep
we're
talking.
Look, I think, the time that I've spent with the mixed crowd, which has been a pretty incredible journey for me, never did I think I'd end up with you guys at the Greer Garson stage talking about the future of Santa Fe, but I'm glad I'm here. I think for many of us, it's about how do we go forward as a community and continue to go to the next level when we talk about creating entrepreneurial vitality, when we talk about a Santa Fe that is on the edge of pushing vibrancy and energy, always focused on making sure that there's an opportunity to connect to our community, and making sure that we kind of get that hit factor, that pull factor, so that young people, whether you come to visit or whether you've been raised in this community, know that not only can you afford to live in our town, but you'd be able to work in our town and raise your families. And then you have a nighttime economy that doesn't end at 9 o'clock. You have an opportunity to socialize with your friends, and there'd be places and venues where live music could be restored again in this community, where we have food trucks and places where people feel connected to our town and connected to one another. So
the next mayor of Santa Fe should
do everything in her power to make sure our young people can stay here. That means growing jobs, diversifying our economy, make sure we finish out our broadband project, which should be done by next September, to make sure that it'll come from the downtown area where CenturyLink is now, and move on through our rail yard onto San Mateo and be able to serve our new Remike area, that we're going to have the capacity to work with the private sector to make sure that this part of town is more vibrant and less financial terms, less in poor shape. We will do whatever we can to make sure transportation circulates around our city. We need to be connecting our colleges, St. John's College, the Institute of American Indian Arts, Sequoia, everybody. We need to get to the south side of town, folks. You know what? 53% of our community is living below the poverty line. That's not acceptable. We need to make sure our kids are not hungry when they go to school. 65% of our kids are going to school hungry, breakfast and free lunch programs. We need to make sure that we build out the south side as equally in good shape and as well designed and as flexible and feasible as we have in all parts of town. We need to make sure, I've got 30 seconds left to tell you my vision, there's a lot to talk about, but we need to support and sustain the arts. I was the deputy director of the New Mexico Film Office. Let's make sure small independent filmmakers and film festivals can stay and be strong in this community. Thank you.
So in September 2012, the Remike project happened, and hundreds of Santa Feans were asked to re-envision the St. Michael's Drive corridor. Follow-up surveys with the residents of the Hopewell neighborhood and surveys conducted by YouthWorks with teens. All of these groups identified pedestrian access, safety, and alternative transportation as priorities for the area we're in now. So please let us know your vision for this area and what, as mayor, you would do to push that forward.
Well, look, it's, the Remike plan has been really well thought out. I think a lot of people have had input into it. It's our opportunity to really grow an economy where we match the talents of this university with the public sector and private investment. When I think of Remike, I think of an area where, again, you have that perfect mix of high density housing that's affordable to young workers. You're anchoring jobs that are focused on places that we want to grow our economy. We want to grow in the creative sector. We want to grow in a knowledge-based economy. We want to make sure if we have that opportunity, we create that entrepreneurial vitality where we can grow software and technology companies in our community. And then make sure that this institution that's driving so much creativity in our community is completely connected to the St. Mike's corridor. That area really presents an opportunity to again have another maybe larger scale neighborhood, but have that mix that's fueled by the academics of this institution that allows us truly to go to the next level.
And for starters, let me just tell you, as chair of the Bicycle and Trails Advisory Committee now for a decade, St. Michael's is one of the biggest, worst, least pedestrian-friendly, bike-friendly, almost car-unfriendly roads in this town. And so it's, a 1950s boulevard that's just too wide to even get across. And so our wonderful rail trail is divided by it. Our community now is divided by it because it's the center of town. And Javier's right when we talk about needing to connect Siler Road. My vision would have us connecting all the way from the rail yard, right through Bacchus Street, 2nd Street, cutting over, make sure we catch Siler Street as another piece of it, and then making sure that St. Mike's is our new entertainment zone. It should be an urban enterprise renewal kind of effort. There are lots of potential in terms of getting federal dollars. The city can, of course, work with the private sector to also look at having, we can waive impact fees, we can look at what's out there for federal monies. We need to do a traffic study. We need to do a bunch of things, but it's so greatly poised right next to this university right here and also the Higher Center for Learning that's part of the community college, that we can make this connection. And this can be our hip new college part of town.
In November 2012, Mix held a Mixed Giving event, and we asked attendees which nonprofit or cause they last donated time or money, and which issue or idea or cause in Santa Fe they felt needed more attention. So it's a two-part question, and it is, what nonprofit or cause did you last donate either time or money, and which issue, idea, or cause in Santa Fe needs more attention?
But I enjoy supporting our arts as well, but I will say that there's no need for anyone to be homeless in this community, never mind our young people. So that on top of the fact that we still have a adult homeless population. So when I've also been able to work with policies at the city level, not just in my personal donations, we made sure that we gave free passes to our youth, and I'm working toward trying to make sure that we also help to subsidize and give better bus transit, public transit availability to our homeless population in general. It's important when the only way you can get to work is public transit. I also worked recently with chain breakers to make sure that we took some funds that we had for a bike sharing program and converted that to those that rely solely on public transit now have the ability to also then go to a local bike store and get, if they have to buy some safety equipment, then they get a free bus pass.
One of the reasons why I'm running for mayor is that there are some systemic issues that are affecting our education system that we have to correct. Over the past 2 years, I had the opportunity to lead efforts to develop the Rosemont Leadership Institute. It's an area where I invested in or contributed to. And the Leadership Institute's all about making available scholarships and developing skill sets for entering level freshmen throughout the state. And so we partnered with New Mexico State and UNM to develop leadership training that would teach the youth to identify leaders within themselves, how they work with others, and how do they become change agents. That's the model that I'd love to bring into Santa Fe, and I propose that we would create the Santa Fe Youth Service Corps, which would probably be an expansion of YouthWorks, which does an amazing job for many of our young teens in our community that are at risk. But I want this Youth Service Corps to be available for all teenagers in our community, a place where they would learn how to do service.
In February 2013, Mix asked attendees to talk about features it would like to see in a private club. Private club being one possible scenario that's been talked about to address the lack of music venues in Santa Fe. For years, many Mix surveys have shown that the lack of music venues in town is an identified need. So first of all, what can the city do to bolster live music in Santa Fe? And second of all, what's your favorite kind of music?
So one of the cool things about this campaign is I've met some incredibly talented musicians, and it started when I met Vince from Meow Wolf and kind of hung out over at Molly's when the DJs were spinning their records. I felt a little bit old being there, but they were all pretty cool, allowing me to hang out with them. And then going over to Tiny's and seeing some of the other incredible creative talents through that effort. I mean, it showed me that we've got some dynamic young musicians in our community that are just looking for venues to be able to showcase their music and their passion. And so one of the things that I would lead efforts to do is identify, either through existing city facilities or new facilities, how to deliver at least a 300 plus seat capacity plug and play sound hall. I mean, we have to make it available for all ages. We have to make sure that it's something that fits and meets some of the creative needs needs that young people want to see in a venue. We also have to, as a city, recognize that we have to provide seed money for ideas. And so I'd want to look at ways to provide microfunds for individuals who want to put on shows, but just need some of that early investment to be able to bring people together so that they can start showcasing their talent in venues that are state-of-the-art, that allow them to grow, and certainly allow all of us as Santa Feans to be able to enjoy their talents.
I helped to get $1 million of capital improvement money because I felt it was actually more than investing just in buildings, but investing in our youth and abilities to have places to go and play music, and that was to build out Warehouse 21, which is still a pretty great little place to have some music happen. We also, the city helped to subsidize El Museo. But what I will tell you is that I've been running a little survey on Facebook on the last 4 days, so it was really interesting. It was the question of nightlife preferences among 18 to 34-year-olds in Santa Fe. We got 52 responses just in the last 4 days, and I found the results interesting. It said they would patronize in this order: a black box theater, temporary music festivals, and then permanent clubs. I've always eyed the Archives building that's right there in the corner in our rail yard district. Right there, it's got that nice, it's on the corner of Guadalupe, and it's really in Montezuma, and it's got that great mural on it. That is now, right now, housing artifacts and bones for the state in our arts and cultural district. So that should become something, whether it's just a practice place or something fun. The others, of course, I fought like mad to try to keep the Paulo Soleri Amphitheater alive, and didn't get far enough. They lost that fight. But I will say that I know Jamie Leffensee and some others are looking at an amphitheater here on this near this campus. I think on some city-owned land close by, or near the higher ed center. And the other is I know College of Santa Fe is looking at a concert center that they're going to potentially build. Please stop. I love every kind of music possible. If I could sing like Alison Krauss, I wouldn't be up here tonight. I love Patty Griffin. I love rap. I love everything. I really do. I love Mexican rock. I have a lot of Mexican rock.